Welcome everybody, my name is François Le Tarte, and this is my channel D30, a channel about tabletop role-playing games. I will talk to you about a role-playing game I'm going to use for a one-shot. And this will be probably the last time I will use it, but I will use it anyway. It's part of the RPGS project that I have. I decided, if you don't know about the project, I decided quite a while ago when the RPGS book came out to use every kingdoms in the book with a different game system, just to show the world about this book, this marvelous book called RPGS, the Super Setting Fantasy Toolkit, which I've participated. Okay, it's a collective work compiled by Sébastien Allard, Null Inquisitor. Okay. When I decided to go with this project, I decided to have a plan, okay? And to let myself surprise with different game systems. I want to put you in context because it will explain what's happening with the next one. I decided to pick up some systems that I already own but never tried. You know, I had some game systems in my shelves that I was curious about, never had the occasion to do it, so I decided to put them in the list of game systems that I could use with the different kingdoms in RPGS. And when I got through all of those, which was a couple of game systems, I decided to fill the remaining slots. I did want to have as much game systems as kingdoms, and fill the slot with some free role-playing games that I could find on the net. So I got randomly around googling stuff and trying to find some website talking about free role-playing games that you can get your hands on that are supposedly complete enough to work with. So I made a list like that, and it's by mere curiosity and experimentation that I have put them. All of the role-playing games are quite standard role-playing games, you know, GM players, okay, that kind of relation. And I go randomly through all of them. You know, I have made cards of every kingdoms, cards of every game systems, and every time I finish a one-shot, I do, you know, randomly pick a card, pick a kingdom, and say that kingdom will be played with that game system, which led to some very happy combination. Some others were more difficult because the game world was not as appealing to me as it would usually, or the game system was maybe a little difficult to apply. But nevertheless, it's a very good experimentation. Okay, it's kind of trained my brain muscle into trying to get the best out of the combination that I have. And at the same time, it can show the world that you can have good role-playing game if you want with something free on the net. RPGS is free, and most of the game systems that I use are free. And those who are not, well, I guess you can buy them. Some of them are not very expensive on DriveThruRPG. That is for a big introduction, which is the same introduction I did a couple of years ago, okay? Now, the next game system. When I do my one-shots, I do it once in French, and I do it in English. The upcoming English one, I don't know when I'll do it. Possibly soon. I don't know when. I have already called up on some players to join me, but I don't know if the schedule will work for those players. If not, well, I'm not worried. I will offer the places to some other players, and we'll see who will get around the tables. It's just a very casual, let's get together table and try this. Now, after this big 5-minute introduction, the game is called Sketch. And, well, I want to talk about Sketch. Usually I do a review after playing it, but it's so dead simple that I can already talk to you about it. I can say that I didn't have the best experience as possible with Sketch the last time. It was difficult to apply. I like rules light system in general. I have a preference. I don't mind more crunchier system. I can appreciate them, but usually I like the game to flow, and for me a good tool for that is to have something rules light. Okay, but there's a limit on how light I like the game system, and this one just got below that. It was difficult to handle. It's not a bad game in itself, okay? There are good ideas behind them, but you have to work hard in order to make it believable. That's the believable part that is hard here. I was fortunate enough in French to have an excellent gaming table, okay? I had great players, okay, who can handle themselves quite easily, so they can compensate to what the system maybe lack. So, having a good table just help. You can run virtually any game with that. If the people are agreed enough upon what game can be played, well, you can do miracles. The game is not bad, coming back to it. Sketch is written by Jonathan Hicks. Why did it fall up into my list is because on some random role-playing game, free role-playing game reviews, it was said somewhere that it was good. So why not? I picked this up. And the name of the guy, I knew it, okay? Because by the time I picked the game, I knew that he was working on some advanced fighting fantasy stuff, okay? He was writing Stellar Adventure, which I find awesome. So he was one of the guy behind that. So I didn't mind encouraging someone working on one of my favorite games. So I picked up the system. Well, this video right now will be way longer than the time you will take to read the game. If there's a link below, it's because we can still find it. I will arrange myself to have a link below, maybe some Google Drive I can share. The game is written in 6 pages long. This is a very rules-like game. The game, what is the promise of the game is a backup game if people don't show up on your regular gaming session and you still want to role play and they don't have anything ready. So you can just fire up your imagination and use that game system. I think in that perspective, it can do a good job. It's also, the game offers you maybe you want to come up with a new, what is the word? Sorry. A new setting. Okay, you're working on a homemade setting and you want to try it without the nuts and bolts of the official game system you will want. Well, you can, just throw something with that game system just to see how the game setting works without having the system in the way. In that regard, I think it can work well. How the game system works. I might, I'm going by heart. I wish I could read while driving, which I can't. But I think I will try to tell you about the system in general, and you will read it by yourself. Maybe I will just invert some numbers, but the idea will be there, okay? Something that I like about the game is that your character does not have basic attributes, but have skill groups that he chooses. These are all already pre-planned skill groups. Skill groups can be combat, science, okay, a field of knowledge that englobes many things. I do like that in the perspective of a very rules-like game, because I had experience with games with only attributes and it felt very dry. You kind of got around quite fast okay, you kind of get around quite fast. But this is the way it works. When you set up your character sheet, you write the numbers 6 to 1. In rows. 6, 5, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and you pick up 6 skill groups and you put them beside numbers, and the higher the number, the better it is. Okay. The game system is quite easy. You roll 1d6. If you got equal or less than the number, well, you should have succeeded in what you were trying to do. Since it's very rules light, I do recommend not rolling the dice too often, because this is very random and it will come dry too, even if these are skill groups which has more flavor than simple attributes. It will come dry quite fast. You can add or subtract modifiers depending on the difficulty. The standards here. Yeah, you have hit points. You kind of roll them randomly. Roll one die track, and you decide upon the weapon, and that's basically it. Melee combat is opposed roll. So instead of rolling equal or less, you add up your combat score, and the highest wins and deal damage to his opponent. And I think there's a rule when, I think it only applies with the simple skill rules, but if you roll a 6, well, you always fail. When you roll a 1, it's always a success. Something like that, okay? And that's basically it, okay? There are some rules about the rest. But, yeah, you have to get good players to have this game interesting, okay? You need players who have good IDs and won't abuse the game system itself. And yeah, it's very random. That's why you shouldn't roll that much, okay? Yeah, you roll 1d6, you know the chance of failure. Let's say you have a 3 into the group you're using, you go 4, 5, 6, you fail. That's a lot. So you have to come up with, narratively, you have to come up with good reasons to put this out together in the best way possible. Yeah. So it was quite a challenge. Not a bad one, but okay, I'm okay with the experiment. I will do it in English, but after that I won't redo that game, because it didn't felt right to me to work that hard. I need the system to support me a little more than that, to have a better net to take me if I fall somewhere. It was fun. Let's say we did. By the way, the French one shot that I did was in two. Was made by 2 times. Okay, in 2 sessions. So the first session, well, it was fun, but by the end of the session, you know, it was quite repeating. Okay, we felt that we were repeating ourselves, and that the second session, well, it was about time to for it to finish, because we were about done in using that game system. Okay, we didn't felt new at all. It was oh no, we have to roll dice. Okay, it felt like that. Okay, since it's too random with 1d6 and all that, right? It's easy to pick up, but yeah, it's too random. Maybe a good thing about it, though, creating characters is ultra fast. Okay, usually when I do one shot, I will provide pre-gens, but in this case, I didn't bother creating pre-gens. I decided to talk about the kingdom, which is Lazet, by the way. I haven't told you about it. In RPGS, Lazet was created by Anthony Boyd, Runeslinger. So I just presented the world and a context. Okay, the game, by the way, if some of you happens to be watching or playing it, you will be the bodyguard of a revolutionary young person, okay, who wants to change the world. So you are to be her bodyguards. That is the starting point. Lazetians are kind of amphibians, an amphibian race, and they are the only one on that island. There are no other races living there. Okay, they are amphibians between each other. So creating a character was quite fast, and this is there's some technology available from what we can understand through the pages of the RPGS articles on the kingdom. Sorry. So with all that knowledge, the players got to read, the 2 pages concerning Lazet, and then, okay, I think I could be that. I'm bodyguard, and that's the job I could do. And okay, 3 minutes, the character was done. Just to tell you how fast and convenient it is to make a kind of character in that. Well, there was a player who was supposed to be there on the first session and kind of called off last second. So, but knowing that we were going to do a second session, it was not planned, but in the end, we had to do a second session to finish that one shot. So, knowing that, he kind of appeared in the second session, and, we were kind of just before, recording the game session. 2 minutes, he kind of, okay, I want to do that, and blah, blah, put this number, and he was really, okay, and he played his character perfectly well. We had a lot of fun, okay, I can't say that it was a boring game, okay, like I said, we were very good players, okay, so we were kind of giving out ourselves, but it could have been with any game system, okay, that game system wasn't the thing helping us getting that good role-playing game, it was the mere talent of the players that I had, which I'm glad to have. Usually, I don't have problem with the talent of the players. I'm usually with good players who can give out themselves, know their way around when it comes to role-playing games. So that game can be done with people like that. But if you come up with, well, maybe it can work with more newbie players, because maybe that game won't be intimidating for them. It's very easy to pick up. But if they kind of get a blast from playing a role-playing game, let's say, well, I guess they will want to try something else. Well, if the game gives them that feeling about role-playing games and going forward, well, I think the game achieved its goal. So that's where this could be a very good game. An introductory game, maybe you should check that for that. You want to play with your kids, you don't want to go with the usual, hero kits or, the stuff that you can buy. Maybe you could do with that. Kids can really understand that. It makes me think about a role-playing game that I used a couple of years ago with my library role-playing game activities for the more 9 to 14 years old group. I used a role-playing game at some point it was a French one called Bob le Rollist. And Bob le Rollist was that kind of simple, okay? 1d6 plus modifier hit the target number 7, okay? That kind of simple, okay? Which, well, okay, was okay, but the limit of the game was attained quite fast. We almost got this game around for 1 year, but after 1 year, personally, I was totally bored because there was no challenge for more advanced players, and okay, something was very broken with only 1d6 plus a modifier. So, well, that's where I got to another game which had more options and more variety and more excitement when it comes to roll the dice. Yeah. So sketch makes me think about that. Yeah, this was quite a long ramble about a game that maybe you may have the time to read 4 times by the time of this video and make your mind about it. But it was my impression about the game. So I won't do a full review, official review with the music and all that. It's basically what you'll have for sketch. If you happen to be one of the players that will be attending the game, maybe this could put you on track, but it will be faster just to read the game and get playing. I'm looking forward to that. So stay tuned on my channel. There will be a recording of Lazet using sketch. François Le Toughts, JDR D30, and up to next time, I hope you have as much fun in your life as in your games. Goodbye.